Welcome into the PHNX studios high above downtown Phoenix. I'm your host, Espo. He is Saul Bookman, and we are brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. We have plenty to talk about, most of which probably won't be this game because nobody's playing, but we'll talk about that in the injury report. First, I want to get to something that came up earlier today. Our friend over at ESPN, Baxter Holmes, dropped a new report that talked about some of the front office members who had behavior that was mentioned in the original report and some that wasn't before, and it focused primarily on the president and CEO, Jason Rowley. This is what Baxter had to say.
Well, Jason Rowley is the team president and CEO of the Phoenix Suns. He started with the team quite some time ago. He actually was involved at the law firm that helped facilitate Robert Sarver's purchase of the team in 2004. Joined them in 2007 as general counsel, ascended through the ranks, and has spent the last 10 years since 2012 in his current role as team president. Now, some of the things that you mentioned, allegations include verbal abuse of employees, mistreatment of pregnant and postpartum employees, other instances of retaliation and intimidation. It was noted to me by current employees as they were reading the report that some of the allegations, though anonymous in the NBA's report, that they identified that Rowley was one of the accused executives in some of these specific allegations. As I mentioned, mistreatment of pregnant and postpartum employees was one particular account that employees noticed and highlighted quite quickly.
So the question is, why is Jason Rowley still employed? Many of us have had that question. Many of us have been asking why he wasn't let go back in September when the report came out. Baxter also had an answer for that.
And in that punishment letter, it lists a series of provisions. And one of those provisions allows for certain key executives, in fact, there are 3 of them, who cannot be removed or terminated without Robert Sarver's authority. Essentially, I believe it says written approval. And 2 of those executives, one of whom is Rowley, another whom is a gentleman named Dan Costello, the team's chief revenue officer, were described to me by employees as being key drivers of the alleged misconduct and the problematic workplace culture.
So there's still a problem over at the Phoenix Suns. One of the things that Baxter had in the report today was an interaction that Rowley reportedly had with an employee back in, I believe it was 2015, where he said, "Who the fuck do you think you are? Who are you to question the reporting structure? If I tell you to report to somebody, you fucking report to them," end quote. He yelled this at a female employee. And then also, he was one of the executives who sought to have a woman terminated from her job while on maternity leave, and then she was promptly fired when she came back. Multiple other accusations when it comes to Rowley and why he was part of the culture. We talked about it when the initial report came out, but this doesn't just start and stop with the guy at the top. Once it's permeated and leadership's been there for a long time, they buy into that culture. The report today talked about Rowley, Dan Costello, who's another executive there, Senior Vice President of Innovation, I believe is his title. They're still there. They were a big part of this. They've been a big part of it for years, and it sounds like it's still a problem.
I mean, that's not a shock. When this all came out, I was one of the first ones to say Rowley needs to go too. This doesn't surprise me. That whole organization is toxic in their executive level. And so, listen, Sarver hired guys that he thought he could trust. He hired guys that he thought would be able to push his directives the way he wants them pushed. Jason Rowley falls under that group. This does not surprise me at all. Again, it's all nice. It's all well and good that you got rid of, the head of the snake, but the rest of the snake is still there running the shop. And that's problematic.
Well, and technically they haven't gotten rid of the head of the snake because apparently he's still calling the shots, and no one's allowed to fire these top executives except for him until the team is sold. So that's problematic in and of itself. I know I'm hosting, but I want to give you a little perspective here. One of the things that happened right after the letter came out, employee-only Zoom meeting where they took questions that were pre-submitted from employees and that were asked to Jason Rowley, who was hosting the meeting. One of the questions was, quote, "Are there any sanctions coming for specific members of our organization as a result of the investigation?" And they were referred to, quote, as historical matters by Rowley. And he also said, quote, "This is about holding people accountable from top to bottom and making sure that we never find ourselves in situations like this again." This is insanity to me, because that's like somebody committing a crime and then you calling that person and asking them to come solve said crime. It's not going to happen. He won't hold himself accountable, and he knows he's untouchable until a new owner shows up. So they're basically have carte blanche there to continue to be who they are. The new owner has to strip this thing to the studs when he or she gets here. At that executive branch at the Suns is beyond toxic at this point. And if they don't clear house, they're just going to continue to perpetuate and perpetrate what's gone on over there for the last decade and more. 18 years since the disgraced future former owner took over there. And Jason Rowley's been a part of it since 2007 and took over as president in 2012. This guy is perpetually had issues there, has been the backup to Robert Sarver and everything where he had his back. And the other thing in this report that stuck out was the fact that they don't show remorse. People can screw up and they can show remorse and you can move on from something. This group doesn't. They were talking about before the 43-page report that the NBA released came out that, oh, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be a slap on the wrist. Everything's going to be fine. If you don't see any problem with your actions, you're doomed to repeat them. It's time to get rid of Jason Rowley and the others in the executive wing at the Suns that have been there for any large amount of time under Robert Sarver, Dan Costello included. It's not going to change if they're still there. And that is my final thoughts on that. We'll move on. There's plenty more to talk about. I'm not sure it's more entertaining necessarily because
I don't think any of that's entertaining.
Well, no, none of what we're talking about tonight in particular is. We're going to talk Suns Lakers tonight. The shell of the Suns and the shell of the Lakers going at it here. I want to know though, Saul, is this still a rivalry? Because to me, it feels like we're at a point in this where the Suns have been so dominant as of late that it's not quite what it used to be.
Have you won a championship yet?
No, but
so then it'll always be a rivalry because the Lakers have always been our bigger brother, if you will. They've always been our bullies. They've always been the pain in our ass. They've always been, there's a mentality that goes with Laker fans that does not appeal to anybody here that's a Suns fan. Like, they will forever and always be our rival. I don't care what year, what the situations are. I don't care what the record is. It doesn't matter. The Lakers will always be all right. They will be our chief rival until the day the franchise is non-existent.
I mean, I get the big brother aspect and everything of it. It seems like you get up for other games a little bit more right now. And I think that ebbs and flows in a lot of rivalries. But right now it's like, okay, it's the Lakers on the schedule. But I was much more interested in the Pelicans. I'll probably be more interested in Denver and how that fan base has gotten on us lately, and more interested in that Christmas Day game in particular. But I think a big reason of that is, and let's just hop right into it, the injury report tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, there is like 2/3 of the roster is out tonight, and we'll take a look at that and read through everybody. But, one guy that is in the game tonight for the Suns is DeAndre Ayton. He'll play, but there's a whole slew of other Suns who are out. Ones that, the normals, Cam Johnson, Dwayne Washington Jr., campaign out again, but Devin Booker is now out with a groin soreness, and Jock Landale out in concussion protocols now as well. And then the Lakers injury report reads like the top 7 guys on their roster. Anthony Davis out, LeBron James out, Austin Reeves out, Justin Toscano Anderson out, Patrick Beverley is questionable, Russell Westbrook is out. this is not what you paid for when you thought Suns Lakers, right?
No, not even a little bit, but it's on both sides of the ball. Like we talked about it earlier, and I'm sure you're going to talk about it a little bit more. It's a shame. It's a shame that, and now Anthony Davis has a legit injury.
Yeah.
He's going to be out for a month, but and Devin Booker has a groin, I guess. I'm so over this load management, kind of era that we live in where, I just think about that family, that family that saved their money because they were like, what's a good game to go to? Oh, I think I'll go see LeBron versus Book and CP3 and see the legends and see a couple Hall of Famers. And they don't get any of that except for CP3 in this game. And it's just really unfortunate.
Well, I had like 3 or 4 fans message me that, and they do this thing called dynamic pricing with Ticketmaster and the Suns. It started, I think, about 7 years ago, where certain matchups they think are going to be more interesting, you pay top dollar for. And a lot of these people paid huge money to go watch this game, thinking nice Christmas gift. It's right around Christmas, or Hanukkah gift. You pay for that. You expect to see those big names, and then you're left holding the bag. Basically, you're going to see a bunch of schlubs for the Lakers versus a shell of the Suns. I mean, you're going to see DA, but he's coming off injury. You don't know what you're going to get there. CP3 obviously is not CP3 anymore. I hate the thought that you paid premium for this, but the people that paid significantly less for tomorrow's game against the Wizards may actually see a better game just simply because of who's available due to load management and other injuries. I get injuries are part of it, but load management is bull.
Yeah, for sure. I will say this though. I think one of the things that we're forgetting about this matchup and this rivalry is what happened last game. And with Patrick Beverley and DA, Beverley is going to test it out in pregame, and they'll see if he's going to be a go. So there is a chance he might play tonight. And honestly, the only thing I'm looking for is somebody to knock him on his fucking ass.
Or posterize
period.
him. I'd love DA to posterize him.
I'd love DA to send his ass to the 15th row is what I'd like. I don't care about posterizing somebody. I want him to just dismantle this man.
We debated on Saturday after the New Orleans game, the Devin Booker's minute thing. And we both were in agreement that you don't pull the hot hand. You don't take a guy out when he's shooting like that. Do you think this groin soreness was a result of playing so many minutes? Is this a load management thing for Devin maybe? Like, to me, it smells of load management.
Yeah, I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I don't know. I'm sure Gerald will find out a little bit more as we get, after the game. But, if he plays tomorrow night, then clearly it wasn't that big of an issue because you're not going to recover that quickly overnight. It's just – and again, like I thought what he did on Saturday night was plenty acceptable. I thought it was perfectly fine. He should play. He was dropping 58. He was on one of the all-time heaters. You got to play. Like, it's cool. I think if you're asking me to guess one way or the other, I would definitely say it's probably more towards load management because he probably saw LeBron and AD not playing, and Monty was like, well, let me give him some rest. But then CP3 probably would have rested too, and I don't know.
Because CP3 was out significant time and is trying to work his way back. Book missed a couple games because of his hamstring. They're saying this is the groin. It feels like this is total load management to me. Also, is there a worse term in sports than that? They could not have named this thing that we have to talk about constantly anything better than load management.
What would you call it?
I don't know. Rest? Like, what? I just hate that term. It's now overused and it's just ridiculous.
They used to put rest on the injury report.
Yeah, but everybody else calls it load management.
I know, but I mean, they used to do that, and no, it didn't really resonate. This is a different kind of thing. This isn't like, it's not necessarily rest. It's just, we don't want to play this guy because we don't want him to get hurt, or we don't want to play this guy because it's not because they play too many minutes. Like, dudes, like all summer long, these guys will play every single day, and they'll play for like 4 or 5 hours. Like, it's not because of the game. So ridiculous.
Why not just call it lazy bullshit?
Yeah.
Like, because that's what it comes down to, and you're robbing people not just those who have paid for tickets, but those watching, of actually seeing an entertaining game. And it also makes a sham of the regular season. Like, what does it matter? What does any of the regular season matter at this point, outside of a little jockeying for position in terms of playoff position? But this makes it just ridiculous. Now, 80, like we said, that's serious. You're fine with that. Injuries happen, but the rest of this just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what the DraftKings Sportsbook has as the odds for tonight's game, with everybody sitting out for the Lakers. Christ. It's an 11-point Suns projected win here. Imagine if Book was playing in this game. You could add 15, 16-point favorites for the Suns, but it sits at 11. You can get the Lakers plus 11 and a plus 420 a 420 money line there. It's kind of tempting, but I'm not a masochist that much. I wouldn't bet on the Lakers in a money line.
They're not going to win by 11.
No, I don't think the Suns are going to win by 11. I take the points, but the money line sitting there at 420 is tempting. But yeah, I'm not that much of a masochist. Speaking of our bets, let's take a look at what our bets are for this evening on DraftKings. I'm looking at the Lakers to win the first quarter money line.
With who?
I don't know. I feel like no book. The Suns offense is going to have to adjust. They're going to have to figure out things. Wouldn't shock me if we get kind of a weird first quarter. Plus 210. I'll take a shot on that. I'd never bet the Lakers full money line.
This is all dependent on Mikal Bridges. This entire first quarter is dependent on Mikal Bridges because CP is going to find him, and it's going to depend on whether or not he's good Mikal or bad Mikal on offense. And then you got DA, so that's going to help too because nobody on the Lakers can stop DA. So in theory, DA should have a pretty good game tonight, but we've seen that story before. So my pick tonight is the Suns alternate spread of minus 10.5 plus a Chris Paul double-double and a Mikal Bridges double-double for plus 2,000. I actually did put some money on this. I'm hoping to see it come to fruition. I also put not a whole bunch of money. I just put some money on a whole bunch of picks in the NBA, one of them being obviously the Suns over the Lakers. But I had the Bucks tonight, and I hope they're winning. But last time I checked, it was a little dicey.
Hey, it's gutsy. I could see Chris Paul getting that double-double. Every time he's under 10 assists this season in a game, the next game he usually goes over. I think getting 10 points shouldn't be a problem tonight because they're going to have to find points somewhere. It's the Mikal part. I don't know if he's going to get there on assists or rebounds tonight.
Sean's going to give me the update.
Bucks are leading 44-40 with 7:21 left.
Let's go over the Pels. Let's go, baby.
That's good in multiple ways. Saul's pocketbook and the Suns' standings in the West. Let's show the most important thing from tonight, though. The only matchup that's going to matter. Let's look at the uniforms for tonight because that's basically
we're not doing our picks for the game.
We'll get to that in a second. Okay. I just wanted to
get
to this.
Over the place. This is not the usual flow
matchup,
of things.
The only matchup that matters. It's the Suns 90s Classic Edition.
The only matchup that matters to you.
Well, what other matchup are you going to pick? Pat Bev versus
me.
Chris Paul?
I don't care about the uniforms.
What matchup are you going to pick tonight? There's no matchup on the court, so the uniforms became the most interesting. But let's look at our picks for this game. I got the Suns Classic uniform over the Lakers' ugly-ass gold uniform, and I also have the Suns over the Lakers by 2 points. It may get bigger, but I just don't feel good of anytime Devin Booker's out of it.
You don't feel good anytime the Suns should have the upper hand ever.
That's not true. But tonight,
for the most
no
part,
book.
You're always worried that we're going to play down to the competition. And a lot of times we have. But I got the Suns winning by 6, but that's before I figured out that all those guys were out. I probably would have them by 16 tonight.
Lindsay has them by 3. By the way, Lindsay's still in health and safety protocol. She will be back soon, hopefully. Gerald out at the arena has the Suns by 5. We'll see how this all plays out this evening. I'm going to guess that DA is the man of the night. Do you think that DA is dominating this evening against a bunch of scrubs in LA?
I don't know. I just want him to get back in the flow of things and play well. I don't know if he's going to be dominating because that doesn't happen very often. So I would say if I had to guess somebody who was going to have the best game out there, I'm going to go with my guy Josh Okogie again. because I think he's had
Actual best game or
he-
impactful?
like most impactful. I think he's had 3 or 4 straight games. Hell, he had back-to-back king of the games a little bit ago. So yeah, I'm gonna say that.
You're picking him as the spiritual leader of tonight's game, but not points or rebounds or assists. Just the guy that leads them in energy. All right. I think we're going to see DA lead it tonight. I don't think there's a lot of guys that will be able to stop him. And I'm damn glad he's playing, because if not, we were going to have Bismack Biyombo and Dario Saric as the centers in this game. And that wouldn't have been interesting to me in the least. I don't know what's going on in the comments, but we're going to leave it in the comments for tonight.
Ghost balls. Don't be weird.
Please don't be. Amelia saying, thanks for the update. Get healthy soon, Lindsay. We agree. Nobody likes me hosting this program. That is it. We got about 5 minutes before this game tips off. You can watch that on Fox Sports Arizona, or you can rush down to the arena. I'm betting there's some real cheap scalper tickets tonight to this.
I mean,
to this
honestly,
ball game.
you should pull. Do you have the game time?
I
app
can
on
pull
you?
up. Yeah, let's pull
You
up.
should pull up the game time app, because I'm sure those tickets are fucking crazy low right now.
I got an alert this morning that the Suns Lakers tickets were dropped like 20%, and that was this morning before I even knew about all these injuries. So I'm sure it's even lower.
I don't know how late in there, how 55 is the cheapest right now on the game time app. So,
okay.
Which is still significantly cheaper than what the Suns were selling them for. So you can hop over there, head out there if you're within walking distance of the arena right now. We'll be back post game talking about whatever the hell happens in this one. We'll have Girth live from the arena, and we'll talk to you then. Ahoy hoy.
PHNX.
Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me.